Now we're going to add some radio buttons. And the radio buttons, there's our buttons, and you get to select one, right? If you select one, the other one unselects. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to add it over here. So in that second field set, so if we scroll down, and we get to that second field set down here. Okay, we're going to add a row. And we want to close that. And now we're going to do a label that's going to be for, well, let's just add the radio buttons first. So a radio button is, you use the input element, and we're going to do the same things. We're going to give it a name. So the first one is sFriend, and this will be the name of the field, and an ID, and that equals to FYes. This, we're talking about the friend section, so that's the friend yes. The value of this radio button is going to be yes, and the type of input is radio, and that'll give us a radio button. And if we save that and then we go back and refresh, let's see what we get for a radio button. There you get a button. Okay, that's what you get, and it can be turned on. Can't be turned off. It turns off when you turn on another one in the group. But so that's a radio button. Well, we for sure need a label. So let's go ahead and put a label on that. And for this one, we want to connect it. So the 4 goes to that ID, which is FYes. And then we want the label to say yes. And now we have a radio button that's yes. Okay, now they're really far apart. That's not quite exactly how we want them. But we get the idea that we have a radio button and a label for it. And again, we can check it. Now, radio buttons, notice that just having one radio button isn't very effective, that these usually come in groups. So I'm going to add a second one, and this is for the no option. So now I'm going to change the 4 to FNO, the label here to no, and then down here, this ID, we need it to match. That again is no. And still the name is sFriend. Now notice this is how you make it into a group, is you have the name be exactly the same. And radio buttons are set so that if you have a group of them, only one can be selected at the same time. So just one can do it. So there we have all of those. So let's go ahead and refresh and see what we've got. All right, now we have 2, and now we can choose between them. And when you choose the one, the other one gets unchosen. And because they have, the labels are connected, oops, they're not connected. Let's go see what's wrong. FYes, that matches. Oh, we've got a space here. So it doesn't match. When I copied it, picked up a space. All right, let's save it. Computers are picky, right? Okay, now because the label's connected, I can either click on the label or on the button itself. All right, now we want to design this a little bit different. So we want to be able to add a question, and that's going to be the label. We're going to use a label to write the question, but and we want to put a box around these options. So we're going to use a field set to put a box around it. So the way to do that is this, we want this to be in a field set. So we'll add field set. And this particular field set, we're going to do a class because we're going to have more than one of them. And so we want to style those the same. So we're going to do opt group, for that field set. And then we want it to be around the yes and no radio button. So I'm going to go after the radio button. Notice it opens before the label and closes after that last button. So now we've got a field set around it, and we want to add a label before that. So before the field set, put a label. And this label, we will not put a for attribute because it's not actually, we don't want it to activate any element. Okay, so it won't have one, and we'll just say, was your service friendly? Question mark. Okay, now we save that. We go back and refresh. All right, so notice what we have. Here we've used a label. It's not connected, so it doesn't activate anything when we see it. Here we have a Fieldset, and that gives us the box around it, and we have radio buttons. And we can choose to click on the buttons or on the labels.